You are not your personal brand. Hey, it's Gareth, and welcome to another episode of the Fathers, Sons, Brothers podcast, where we have inspiring and courageous conversations that support men to level up health, wealth, and relationships. Today, we are talking about personal brand and the role that it plays in business, and super jazzed to be introducing today's guest. Alexandra Marostica is many things to me: a friend, a mentor, a business partner, a soul sister, a space to cry on, a reflection piece, and just a really, really deep ally in many areas of my life. And I'm stoked to be having her on the conversation today to be talking about the role of personal brand and to talk about how people sometimes get personal brand wrong, the importance of personal brand in setting up your message and how you want to bring that to the world, as well as how the importance of personal brand supports your business to be able to get paid to do things that align with your purpose work of what it is that you came here to do. Alex from Cape Town, thanks for being on the show. So good to have you here.
Hi, Gareth. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to finally be on the show.
You've seen it all behind the scenes, and maybe you just want to just give a little bit of a background of what Ignite Your Business does and where you and I are actually business partners and the role that you've seen supporting this podcast and the creative work that's been going on through Father, Sons, Brothers, through the creation that we have through Ignite Your Business.
Absolutely. So, yes, Ignite Your Business is a business that, together with Gareth, I've been running for the past 7 years. And we've come a long journey in supporting soulpreneurs in the digital space who want to bring their knowledge-based products to the world. And we do everything from coaching, consulting, and providing many digital services. And along with that, we also support the other brands within our little stable of wonderful, world-changing brands. And one of them is Father, Sons, Brothers. And the Ignite team supports in the production of this podcast, a lot of the other production, like the social media and the marketing, and yes, lots of what eventually gets to your eyes and ears. Ignite has had a hand in helping support to get that out into the world.
I love it. It's been such a beautiful creation in unfolding, and it's really been anchored in our own learnings and lessons as we've wanted to bring our own work and our own projects to the world, which has really resulted in creating a full service agency which helps identify strategy, which is really what we're going to be starting with and talking about today. But right down to the actual pieces of how the content that is created that supports a creator who has an important message that they want to bring to the world goes onto the right platform, is spoken to so that it resonates with the right type of person. And if the business model is set up in a way that somebody actually gets paid to bring their magic to the world in being of service. And so we're very clear that we really only work with brands that make the world better. I came from a world of advertising where I was supporting brands like Coke and Pepsi and other businesses like that. And I was really grateful for how I learned the opportunities and the skills that I have in business. But those products don't really resonate with me. And I think there's a space for me to be in service now to support other creators that are doing work that matters, that really inspires and uplifts humanity. And so that's really what Ignite is and what we're going to be talking about today. And just want to frame today's conversation is really going to be sort of like an intro to personal brand. And we're going to follow this up with another two, perhaps slightly shorter episodes that you can practically use to identify some of the elements of your own personal brand. And when you listen to the next two episodes, you'll have the opportunity to sort of listen to the episode, pause it, grab your journal, and actually do some writing to practically install some important pieces so that you can get clear on your personal brand if this work is resonating with you. And so maybe, Alex, you can start by sharing, who is this for? Like, who should be interested in a personal brand? Who are we looking to connect with through identification of personal brand? And what's the importance of it for somebody in this particular space?
Brilliant. That's a great question, Gareth. And it actually touches a little bit on what you mentioned earlier when you were talking about who Ignite works with, etc. Many times as entrepreneurs, the best people to work with are people just like ourselves. And ourselves, you and I, are both people who are inspired with using our gifts and knowledge as ways to help the world and be of service to the world. And as such, those are exactly the kind of people that Ignite works with, and all the other brands like Father, Sons, Brothers work with. And um, and this is who we are really focusing on, and especially within the personal branding that I do with the clients, it's generally clients who have got something amazing, which we all have something amazing in us, and have uncovered it and realized that by sharing that light, they make the world a little bit brighter. And really, the focus is, how do you use your brand positioning, your languaging, um, what your message is in order to shine that light not only brighter, but in the right corners where it's needed.
So good. Yeah, I love that part because we do all have something that we call to share, and specifically with our work for men, like there's a part of the masculine path which is being on purpose, which is like I've got something that I need to bring to the world, and at every point in a man's life he hears that, but only some people have the courage to really follow through. And so we want to work with those people that are like, I know what it is that I want to bring to the world, and I'm ready to bring it, or I've got an idea of what it might be, but I don't know quite what the fuck to even do with this, or where do I even start, or could it be a business? That's also a potential for us. But really, I think I want to just frame this as saying this doesn't have to look like a specific coaching journey. This might be a wilderness guide. You might have a book inside you that you feel you want to share with the world. You might have the perfect model for parenting, that you've got a lived experience through being a parent. Maybe this is wanting to speak from a stage. Maybe you want to be a retreat person. Maybe you just want to be the space, the location, like you have a retreat center and you want to find the right types of people to work with. All of these particular healing paths or paths of personal development would require a marketing strategy that is linked to a personal brand, ready to be able to identify who do I want to work with and how do I bring what's mine to the world in a way that really resonates with and finds, as you said, the right person or shines my light into the right corner. So, yeah, if you resonate with any of those sorts of themes, this episode is going to be supportive for you. And why is it called personal brand, and why does it have nothing to do with me? If my personal brand is personal, how could my personal brand have nothing to do with me?
And I think this is one of the reasons why people sometimes get personal branding wrong, because we do think it's all about me. So it is a personal brand because, yes, you are your business, especially if you're in the space which is around knowledge-based products, and you are either, maybe you're a guide, maybe you are a yoga teacher, maybe you're writing a book, and your name is centrally connected to what you are selling, or you as a person are connected to what you're selling, you're the magic in that, then yes, it is a personal brand because ultimately you're actually selling yourself, right? But when we say that it's not all about you, it's about when you are trying to build awareness around your brand, in that moment, it's actually all about your potential client. And one of the fundamental mistakes that sometimes are made are, we go all out to show, look at me, sometimes treat our branding little bit like a resume, and it's all, I've done this and this and this and this and this. And actually,
Yes.
that's not what people are looking for. Think about when you go onto a website or you go searching for a service or something, you're not really interested in who that other person is. The first thing you're interested in is, can you solve my problem? once that's answered, then only do you go like, okay, so then let's see who you are. Part of, can you solve my problem? Do you understand me and who I am and what my needs are? I'm not going to look any further. I'm just going to swipe on to the next person and see if they can solve my problem. Because that's what life is, right? Life is about getting through life and getting our needs met and getting up that needs pyramid. And if someone is not able to meet our needs, why am I going to spend energy reading all your copy, watching all your videos if I don't feel like I belong there?
Hmm. We've learned this the hard way, and
Yes,
this is
we
why
have.
we're teaching this work. And yeah, it really has this resonance of recognition that a couple of things stand out. One of them is that we're in a crowded marketplace. You know, if you're wanting to promote your work on the internet, there's a low barrier to entry, which means everybody can put their opportunities out there. And in many ways, a lot of people are competing for your attention. And so, what happens when you're the user of technology? You're only really looking for content that inspires or resonates through your own personal lens. Meaning, as you said, Alex, what's in this for me? Like if I land on a dating website and I'm looking for my ideal partner, it's all about Alex's amazing marriage or your journey. There's a part of me that's a bit like, that's fucking amazing, but it's not about me. And this is not actually a conscious thing. As a user of technology, your brain is wired to look after you first. And as a creator or a brand owner, if you're not aware of this particular piece and you make your personal brand about you, it's going to be impossible to resonate with the person that lands on your page, even if you have the method for them, even if you have the perfect solution to solve their problem. If you don't speak to them and make it about the person who's on the page, you lose them every single time because the person is really looking at it through the lens of how does this help me? And if you're not talking to the particular piece around how it can solve their particular problem and really being clear about what that is, as Alex said, there definitely is a place to be able to talk about your credentials and what qualifies you to be able to do that. But those first, we call it the hook in marketing of what is it that really gets the person in, that's an important piece of this journey. So, yeah, I just wanted to underline that because I've done this in the past and I would like to bring this into the next question. For many on this journey, there's a place where we perhaps feel unqualified or the idea of the imposter syndrome comes up. And what tends to happen if you feel that is you're like, oh, someone's going to see that I don't know quite what I've got here, or you don't feel confident. And so you tend to song and dance about who you are, and you do the exact same thing that we're talking about here. So maybe you can touch on imposter syndrome and the role that that plays in getting clear on personal brand.
Yes. So
We've both had
imposter
imposter
syndrome.
syndrome. That's why we're laughing. We've held space for each other for imposter syndrome so many times.
I'm trying to think back of people that I've coached that this has not come up. Like I'm at the point where I'm almost surprised if imposter syndrome doesn't come up. It's so I first want to maybe just start off to say that it's part of your journey. If it comes up for you, it's part of your journey. And I think almost welcome it, embrace it. In Seth Godin, his probably the guru of the grandfather of marketing. In He says that if you're not feeling imposter syndrome, then you're not pushing your edges far enough. You're not you're not doing anything important or courageous if you're not feeling some form of imposter syndrome. So
Mm-hmm.
I would almost say welcome it and embrace it. But sometimes imposter syndrome does also come from lack of clarity. And being really clear and having a good development of what your personal brand is and how it gets communicated will help with imposter syndrome. Because imposter syndrome could just be a symptom of a lack of clarity of where you're going and what it is that you're offering. And when the focus is all on me, That's a lot of pressure to live up to. And
Meaning you spend so much
also,
time promoting yourself that you have to be this amazing person you speak to be, right?
yes. And also, when you're focused on me, you land up in this trap of comparison because then you're comparing yourself to everybody else who's doing that same me journey. And if they do it a little better than you, then you're feeling like you're falling short. But if you make this about your clients, if you make it for who you're serving, so good personal branding really is about service based marketing. Who am I serving? Who do I want to be in service of? And it becomes about them. They set the bars. There's no comparative now anymore. There's no pressure. And I promise you, nobody's putting the bar higher than you put on yourself anyway, because we are
Agreed.
so demanding on ourselves. Yeah, you actually show up so much better for people and for your ideal clients because you've made it all about them.
Yeah, it's good to have this conversation again. Like I notice I still have some of that coming up in me, and it's probably something that's always going to be there, like this general sense of like, does anybody care? Am I far enough along the path to be able to be leading? And yeah, it's a really important piece. Hey, FSB crew, a quick message to say 97% of you who watch or consume this podcast are not subscribed. Subscribing to the show really supports us to be able to grow and reach more people, as well as include and improve the quality and caliber of guests that we have on this show. Our goal is to get this number down to 70%. And so if you have ever received any value from the content and conversations on this podcast, please consider subscribing. It really supports us and the work that we're doing. Now, back to the show. How do you guide somebody who's feeling like they've got this energy inside them? They're like, cool, I've got something. I notice that whenever I spend time with my friends, they share their problems and I feel like I can hold space for them and I feel like I might have something here. How do you guide that person? Well, I mean, they might see a potential opportunity to bring these gifts. They might even say this could be a side business that could even bring some money potentially, but really an opportunity to show up in service of somebody else. Where does this person start? Like, what's the importance of being clear, and what are some of the challenges of just opening up a blog post and starting to write something?
So both have value. I don't want to knock starting a blog post. That's how I started. I'm pretty certain that's how you started too. That was my first thing I did. I didn't know better. I started with a blog post. And now I know in hindsight that there would have been a better way to do it. I would have saved a lot of time. I'm not doing it that way. But that's better than not doing anything at all, because sometimes the lack of clarity can act as a barrier to not do anything at all. So if you're sitting between choosing between doing something, not knowing if it's right or wrong versus holding back, do what you don't know and take the
Yes,
chance.
right,
And you will learn tons from that. And there's very little you can do that you can't backtrack from.
right.
And as I say that, these are exactly the words I have to always remind myself over and over. But there's very little you can do to really harm your brand so much that you can't backtrack from or can't recover from or learn from. Um, and again, and I don't remember who it is that I'm quoting now, but the saying is that if you can't look back on your work of 2-3 years ago and cringe a bit, then you haven't developed, you haven't grown, and you've not done much. So that's always a good thing. Putting yourself out there is always the first thing. But my starting point would be firstly to get clarity on their why as a person and their values, and understanding what it is that it is that making them feel like this is something that they want to bring into the world. There's a big difference between doing something because you see it as this could be a great opportunity, this is a good place to make money or make a living, versus feeling like this is a place where I can add value, where I receive joy, where it's more than just the money. Like this is meaningful for me, even if I wouldn't get paid or got paid a little.
Yes.
There's they're two very different energies, and growing something where it's not about the money. The money is obviously we all want to make a living from what we do, but it's not the primary factor. It's about bringing what's inside me out is way more pleasant and fun to build than something that is only about, oh, I've identified that as being a good niche and it can make money. So clarity around that by understanding the person's why, what their values are, and how this aligns with that would be the starting point. Yeah. Okay. From
You know,
there,
this. No, I just want to bring something in here. If you had never been into a fitness regime before, and you suddenly woke up today and decided, right, I want to get myself into shape. Yes, you could metaphorically open a blog post, and that means go down to the gym and see what happens. You could also take it a little bit more seriously and decide to work with a coach or a trainer that's walked this path before you, that has an understanding of exactly what the lay of the land is, what some of the intricacies and nuance are of personal brand and making a living from a purpose-based business, which is not something that I did. I own that the journey that I have come on has really been lengthened. I've had to learn my own way because at the beginning of this journey, some part of me from a place of scarcity was like, I'll figure this shit out. I know how to do this. And I went on my own. And I've taken a lot longer to get to where I am right now in my business as a function of taking this route. And when I reflect back, I should have on day one said, right, who's the best person that's done this before, that's walked this path, that can guide me and just give me the fast track, you know? And so I've really embraced and invested in coaches, not only for my business, with working with you, Alex, in working with other coaches, James Wedmore, Stu McLaren. We've worked with Dane Thomas. We invest a lot in coaching because these dudes know what they're doing and they all bring something to the business in a way that you don't have if you just decide to metaphorically start the blog post on day one. You can do it for sure. And as Alex said, if you just want that inspiration to flow, start. You're definitely going to receive reflection. You're definitely going to look back and cringe and be like, wow, I can't believe I wrote such shit. That's the nature of a creative journey. It's like the process of getting out there and being like, wow, your message evolves when you start bringing it to the world. And if you want this thing to be something serious, significant, make an impact, reach the right people, and get paid to do it, ask somebody to guide you who's walked this path before you, because that's definitely been a reflection that I think I could have really supported me on this path there.
absolutely. And I concur because similar at the beginning, for me, a big part of it was around cost and saving money. And so I went and learned to do the skills myself. I did everything took longer and yeah, I just winged it. The truth is it didn't save me money in the long run. You paid in other ways. Um, and the best thing for my businesses and for my own development as an entrepreneur was when I realized that going alone is not the right thing and doing it with a mentor, with coaches, being in the right containers. That is what helps entrepreneurs really fast track their businesses and get what they need to get out into the world. And also, an important thing to remember is that if you feel strongly that you have something inside you that needs to go out into the world, do you not have a responsibility to get that out quickly? And this was a hard thing for me to learn, to realize that I know that some of the things around not wanting to spend money or invest money at the beginning, etc., had also to do with my own fears, my own imposter syndrome, etc. But ultimately, to come out of it and go, you know what? I've got this burning desire. I want to get it out into the world. I feel strongly that the world is calling for it. And do I not have a responsibility to get over myself? I mean, why has this been given to me, this gift? Not to keep it inside. And, we call our business Ignite. And, a candle does not lose its light when it shares it with another candle. And we have a responsibility to continue sharing those lights on and to allow everybody to ignite their candle. And, but not keep it, because when my candle stops burning, then I can't share that light anymore.
Yeah, there's a statement that we talk about a lot inside the Father Sons Brothers tribe, which is unshared gifts become poison in a man or a woman. But like the sense that if you're gifted something, you can hold it for a while and you can be like, oh, I'll get to that, or not put it out there because of fear or because of whatever the story is. But after a certain amount of time, it starts to become build up and feel resentment. You start to feel like you're not doing what you are called to do. And like Alex said, especially in a world that looks like it's going crazy, we need more of us to bring more light. And if you're feeling that call inside you, you can sit with it for a while, but at some point it will probably make you sick if you're working on something that's not necessarily lighting you up and feeling like you're bringing your gifts to the world. Life is short, and we've all been blessed to be in these meat suits on this planet at this time of our lives. And you're carrying something inside you that the world needs. And don't ignore it for too long, because it will create not only frustration and anxiety, but eventually it can actually cause disease if you don't bring the magic that you've been blessed with. And I think it's a gift from the divine God, whatever you believe in, and it's your responsibility to bring it. And I think that's exactly what Alex said. Even if it only serves one other person, it will have been enough. Um, so bring that. I want to ask you something else.
Mhm.
Does the gift that we bring to the world have to be a business? Do we have to monetize this gift that we've brought?
No, no, not at all. Um, Everybody's situation is different. We would all love, I'm sure, to be in a situation where what brings in our money and what is our purpose always aligns. And of course, that would be first prize. But sometimes it doesn't, and that's also okay.
Yeah.
You could have a daytime job or 9 to 5 thing that is fulfilling. You're great at. You've spent years building, and you don't want to step away from that. But at the same time, you might want to have something on the side that is there because of the joy, because it's an opportunity for you to share your gift. And that's perfectly fine. And that is wonderful. Everybody's situation is unique, and you do the way that feels right for you, for your family, for how you engage with the world, for your divine journey. There's no rule that says that the two have to necessarily merge.
Hmm. Yeah, and this is something that we actually are going to be supporting those that want to journey with us through something called a personal brand audit. And a personal brand audit, I'll let Alex explain what that is, but it's really the opportunity to get clear on this piece. Like, what is mine to bring? How do I want to bring it? Do I want to monetize this? Is there a requirement to monetize it? Do I need the money to make a living? There's a story about this guy who was a surfer. He used to go down to the beach every afternoon and surf, and he was responsible for organizing the music and the bonfire on the beach every single night. This felt like his purpose. He brought community together every single day. He did that for free, and he would have continued to do it for free. During the week, he had a roofing job, working on the roof of houses and fixing roofs, and that's what paid him the money that he needed to live. But his personal brand was really about being the guy that created community on the beach and holding point for that. And he was being in service. This was his gift to the world to bring, being in the surf, connecting people together on the beach afterwards, creating community. It didn't have to be a purpose gig. And in some ways, it would have shifted the whole energy of it if he tried to monetize it. Now, could he have made it a thing? For sure. But he didn't want to. He was clear that that's what it was. And so this personal brand audit is a couple of things. It's first of all getting clear on what's mine to bring, who is it for? Like, who am I going to bring this to? Because just having a thing doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to resonate. And so, what Alex started with is understanding the potential need of the person that is going to be the recipient for your book, your TED talk, your course, your coaching program, your gathering, whatever that is. Is there a space for a business model perhaps attached to it? And then how am I actually going to bring it to the world? And if I do have a business model attached to it and I need that to happen, how do I get to this place which we call like a confirmed offer, which is like, okay, I've got something here that seems to be resonant and there's a yes. Maybe you want to unpack what a personal brand audit is and maybe even touch on the offer that we have for those that are interested in journeying with us and getting this experience of a personal brand audit.
Brilliant. So just I'll backtrack a little bit behind that, and I want to just share a little bit around the journey of Ignite and personal branding. So it's now 6 years ago. Together with Gareth, we realized our personal brands needed some work. We had gone through this journey of doing everything ourselves, etc. And at that stage had already helped quite a few clients with their personal brands. And, like with many people in the coaching consulting world, we weren't good at taking our own medicine. and,
The
and
cobbler's
so
kids
with
always have bad shoes. Yeah.
yes, exactly. So helping clients successfully with their personal brands and just not getting ours sorted. And we decided we were going to work through the process of getting the personal brands done. And we recorded the process and we invited people along with the journey. That was our first foray into coaching personal branding. And then since then, I've worked with many clients around this, and personal branding being a central part of a lot of the work that we've done. And now, one of the things that we've now starting to offer is this personal brand audit. People, more and more people already have personal brands established or have started a business not thinking about personal brand, just sort of winging it. Or some people have a business idea, don't know where to start, and that not knowing is stopping them from doing anything. And so this is a 5-day process, or 3 to 5 day process, depending on where you are and where your business is and what your needs are, to really look at where is your business right now and how are you presenting your messaging? How are you presenting your values, who you are, what you offer, and how are you positioning that for your clients? And so we start off really by looking at who you are, what are your values, what is your why, etc. Who is your client? What is
Ideal target
problem that
market.
yeah, what is your the problem that you are solving, and how are you positioning that messaging to the world so that when your client, your ideal client, sees you, wherever they see you, on social media, on your website, wherever, immediately goes, that's my tribe. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for people to be able to see instantly, yes, that's who I must, that's where I must connect, that's where I must engage. And that is what a successful personal brand is one where someone feels resonance, alignment when they engage with your brand. And that can happen on many different levels. We mistakenly at times think that branding is all about the logo and the colors and the fonts, etc. That's secondary. Branding is about message.
And the
And
feeling.
yeah, when I read the message, when I hear the message, when I'm engaging with the brand, do I feel like I belong? Not do I fit in or does it fit me, but do we belong? And have I found home? And when we have that feeling, that's where trust gets built. And when we trust, we stay.
There's that sense that you get me. It's reading
Exactly.
that copy or listening to that video, and you're like, this is actually the person speaking to me. I know what it is that I trust that this person has maybe been through this experience before, has the blueprint, has the opportunity to support me with my particular problem, and that has to align with your particular message and what it is that you're bringing to the world. That fit, that alignment is really the purpose of the personal brand audit, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So, we're doing these personal brand audits. In the next episode, we're going to be talking about another element of personal brand, and there's going to be a second episode after that that continues along this theme. But really, what we're doing is we're building power for something called the Ignition Program, which is a 6 month adventure for what we call soulpreneurs that are looking to walk this path. And this is kicking off in September. Maybe you want to talk about what happens after personal brand. Cool. So I go through this thing. I've got a document now that articulates I'm Gareth. I'm a menswear coach specializing in relationships, health, and wellness. And then what?
So personal brand is the starting point, and when we help people set up their personal brand or I get clarity on it, you're sitting there with quite a bit of theory actually. And the next step is really how do you take that theory and actually, in a practical way, use it to then drive a viable enterprise, whether that be a business, whether that be a side thing or a hobby or just something that you're doing, it doesn't matter. But you need to be able to take that information, actually move that into something that is viable practically. And so that's really the where ignition what ignition is really about. So the first part of it focuses on personal brand, ensuring that all those important building blocks around understanding the client, understanding the problem, the niche, what the minimum viable product should be, understanding how that fits with you, and also understanding you as an entrepreneur and what are the personal aspects of yourself that could be standing in the way of you sending your gift out into the world and understanding those things. And so that's the first part. But once you move out of that and you understand that and you have that clarity and you've started doing the little habits and practices to move yourself into the space of being of service and sending your work out into the world, how do you then take that and actually use it practically? Should your website look like? How does your social media get set up? How do you use that to attract into your world those tribe members who do belong and have been searching for you? And when they come into your world, how do you honor that trust that you have now asked of them and honor it to that place where you can then share your gift? And essentially, that is what Ignition is all about. It's getting from this idea to where you are actually sharing your gift.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. There's something in what you said there that I just want to articulate, which is this ignition program really is made up of three parts. There's the strategy and the plan of what we want to bring to the world with this purpose-based business and getting clear on the personal brand that we've spoken about and the messaging and who's the client. That's one piece. The second piece is identifying how are you going to do this? Like, what is your thing that you want to use as the sort of the vehicle to get your message out there? Like, if you're not good on video, maybe you want to start writing blog posts, or you want to host in-person gatherings as a way to start building some momentum. So those are some of the tactical components that support this strategy. So those are the two pieces. And a lot of books teach this stuff. Get clear on your direction, get clear on what you want to bring, know who you're serving and what their problem is, and then a way to be able to do it. But the third really important piece is really recognizing that this business or this adventure that you're about to embark on really requires a personal evolution and transformation of yourself, meaning you've got to be the type of person that has the capacity to be able to build a business, to really be able to say, okay, what is required to actually bring this to the world? Running a business has got multiple moving parts, and we don't all have strengths in every single area. The role of the leader or the founder or the entrepreneur, we call them soulpreneurs, is recognizing this is what I'm good at and this is what's mine to do. And also recognizing that there are other things that are important to be done in order for this to come into the world. And how am I going to get that done? Am I going to evolve into the person that knows how to do accounting and bookkeeping and track the money? Or am I going to partner with somebody else, a service provider or employer, a virtual assistant, or somebody to be able to help me with that and really make sure that I'm able to do everything that's required to make this business a success? And that's a really important piece. And it's a place where we spend a lot of time inside the Ignition program focusing, including money work. We spend some time having a look at mindset and money stuff, because if you're wanting to manifest a business that's going to bring passive income into your world or make a living from this adventure that you're going on, but you've got some story around money, you've got some money blocks, some limiting beliefs, those need to be worked through, because you can have the best looking personal brand, you can have the most exciting and sexy looking blog, but if you've got money blocks or personal stuff that's not aligned, these pieces really need to be clicked into place if this business is going to get out into the world. And it's really something that I wanted to, Alex touched on it, but really, what are the habits that you need to start developing in yourself to be able to be the type of person that has the capacity not only to bring this to the world, but also to be able to receive the energy back in forms of love, appreciation, haters, receiving money. All of those are part of this journey. And to be able to build yourself strong enough to be able to receive that is an important piece if your business is going to be a success.
Yes. If this was easy to do, we would all be doing it. And the reality is that being an entrepreneur, even more so being a soulpreneur, is not an easy journey. And it tests you all the time. And because of this, and because it requires of us to dig deep and be introspective and be brutally honest with ourselves and receive brutal honesty from others, this is often the reason that people don't go on the journey or quit the journey. Not because my launch didn't go well or I couldn't really find the right product. Those are excuses. The truth is that it's usually because we didn't do the inner work. Part of this journey, the biggest part of this journey, is the inner work. If I
For
look at my
sure.
over the last, I've been now self-employed for 9 years, 8, 9 years, and the journey has not been the practicalities of learning how to run a business, how to set up an agency, how to work with team. That's the easy stuff. The journey has been in here with me, and that's the work. And doing that on your own, I don't like dealing with absolutes and saying it's impossible, but it's pretty close to impossible. It's very difficult to do that inner work without reflection from others, without safe spaces, without some hand holding, without places to be vulnerable and speak through things, and places where trusted folks can give you some hard truths in a soft space.
I love this part the most, actually. I love the tactical stuff, but I really like getting into the nuts and bolts. And because I'm a bit of a personal development junkie, you know this, and I'm continually seeking out shadow reflection from the people that I love and trust. And I build teams. You're a big part of this for me, Alex, which is like I build teams of people that can see the things that I can't, because that is the meat. That's the piece that's going to really support me to show up as the best version of me. And that's something that I value. I know that's true for me. Like I want to show up as the best version of myself. I'm lazy. I want this to be as easy as possible. And if I can find the quickest way to do it, and there's a part of me that's sabotaging, fuck, please tell me. Please fucking tell me that. That's really the magic of what this is and what this container is all about. And so, yeah, this is really what it is. So we've spoken a lot about the tactics and the strategies, but there's going to be some tough love and some hand holding, and there's probably going to be some tears and some hugs, and that's the nature of what this journey is going to be and what the Ignition program is really all about. Because my coach said to me once, "Your business is a reflection of you." And I was like, oh, fuck. I was with the coach because the business wasn't doing what I wanted it to do. And he's like, "Your business is a reflection of you." And I was like, oh, damn it. That means it's mine to fix. I'm like, give me the book. Show me the book that I need to read. And it's like, no, you do the stuff that you need to do in order to show up and be the leader that's required. And, you know, more than 500 men having gone through the King Circle now, you know, men that have been through various coaching programs with us. I feel like I have, and we've got an MBA in not only the tactical and strategic stuff around building a business of this nature through all the coaches that we've worked with. We must be close to 10,000 hours of thinking about this stuff, deep diving into various different models, but also this space of like, what went wrong here? What did I not see? And holding space for one another in this journey has been so rich that I'm so stoked to be able to share this because yeah, it really feels like we've condensed 10 years of work into like a super potent 6-month program that starts with the personal brand, then really aligns your particular mission with the model that really suits you. And we have this concept, which we haven't touched on yet, but it's called lifestyle alignment, meaning how do you want to live your life? Like, how do you want to do this? You don't have to make this business look like men's circles and podcasts and stuff like that. It could be a small gathering once a month that creates a high ticket offer, whatever that is. We'll guide you through that process so that what you're creating is lifestyle aligned, meaning you're doing what's in service of you, but you're also getting paid to create the life that you want that gives you the flexibility to live how you want to live. And that's a very unique journey that we guide you through. And then also a space to be able to reflect who it is that you need to be in order to create this. And that's really the magic of what we're going to be bringing in the container. So what's the invitation to those that are excited to journey with us, Alex?
So if you would like to assess your personal brand, start a personal brand if you don't have one yet. If you are anywhere in the space of lack of clarity, not sure, and want to have 5 free coaching sessions with me to review where you're at, I am going to work with a select few people. I've got a couple of spots, and there is an application process. I want to work with people that are serious and are ready to take action to take their mission to the next level, are serious about wanting to take their gifts out into the world, and they can apply to come and let me help you, guide you into getting your message out. And it doesn't matter if you have no plan yet, you just know you want to get something out. It also doesn't matter if you already have something or a little bit established, but something's just not working right. It's just not clicking into place. It's probably something personal brand related, and we'll be able to figure that out.
Yeah, guys, depending on when you listen to this, at the time of recording this, we are towards the end of July in 2024. I'll include the link to the personal brand audit that we've been talking about in this episode in the show notes. So wherever you're listening to this, click on this. we have a very limited number of spots, as you can understand. Like a five sessions one-on-one with you is not something we've got a lot of capacity for doing, but we're doing it as a promotional piece for this particular version of the Ignition program, which is starting in September. So if this is for you, grab one of those spots now. They may not even be available. So if this is you, make sure you click that link and book a slot with Alex. And if we are not offering slots or it's going to be with somebody else, we'll set that up on that page. But jump in and really use this opportunity now to get this. This is not something that we've got capacity to expand. And as this episode starts to reach more and more people want to be on this adventure, we've only got a certain amount of space to be able to offer these solutions. So jump in. It would be probably the most important thing that you do. There's no obligation that you do this personal brand audits, that you have to come on the Ignition program. That 6-month program is a paid program starting in September. But this personal brand audit is really an opportunity for you to dive deep and journey with Alex and just see where there's a resonance with what you want to bring to the world and identify where some of these blind spots are and some of these challenges that you might be coming up against, to really find the alignment of what's yours to bring as you go on this adventure. So links to that are going to be in the show notes for this. What are the next 2 episodes going to be about?
Great. So what we'll do on the next episode is we're going to deep dive into the ideal client, look at what their problem is, understanding how to articulate that problem, and how to understand your ideal client on a deep level. So we will look at things like client avatars, that kind of thing. And so really getting personal into who this person is.
That you want to work with, right? Your ideal client.
Yes.
Cool.
And really around the fact that you need to have a personal relationship. Even if this client is an idea, you have to have a relationship in order to then build that relationship with the real person. And then in the episode after that, we'll look at how you position yourself as the person who can provide the solution to that client's problem, and how you position that solution. And we'll go deeply into that, and how you present your story, and how you do not just reiterate a resume, and we'll go into a little bit on what that looks like, and we'll unpack that a bit.
So good. So these next 2 episodes are going to be super practical. We've done a little bit of theory here. This was really an overview and an invitation for those of you that are ready to jump into the personal brand audit. Links are going to be in the show notes. For the next 2 episodes, expect to grab a cup of coffee. They're going to be slightly shorter, but there's going to be some practical takeaways where you're going to listen to a couple of prompts and questions. You're going to pause the episode, an invitation to do some writing in your journal and really just get clear on your persona, like your ideal client and what their problem is, so that you can really start to position this piece. And then the next episode, same jam, slightly shorter episode, a chance for you to dive in and listen, and then actually do some practical takeaways that will support you on this journey. So make sure you grab the next 2 episodes. I'm stoked to be joining you again for those 2, Ellie Cat. Thank you for being on this adventure with me. I just want to use this as an opportunity to say thank you so much for this wild adventure that we've been on. Alex and I met on the playa in a festival called Africa Burn. I'm not going to get the dates right, but it was a while ago, 2015-ish, somewhere around there, 16.
Mm-hmm.
And we met at Africa Burn, and our paths crossed and our lives have been intertwined ever since. And as I said at the beginning of this episode, we've played numerous different roles for each other and held loads of space for tears and laughter and celebration and shadow reflection and all the things. And I just want to say thank you for the countless ways that you support me and have helped bring the Father, Sons, Brothers brand, this podcast, what we're creating at Ignite Your Business into the world. And it's an honor to be on this adventure with you. Thank you.
Thank you. And yes, it's been a ride. And one of the best things that I always think about when I think about the beauty of our relationship and how we met, and I think this is a great example of what happens when someone is courageous and faces their fears. And that's what I did. I went to the burn on my own. I had no crew. I went on my own, and I was so scared of this, and somehow spoke myself into it a few days before that it's okay, you can go on your own. And I got gifted with one of the most significant relationships in my life. And I am so grateful for the journey that we're on. And yeah, so much growth and beauty because of it. Thank you.
Yeah, and also just thank you to you. In addition to serving entrepreneurs through Ignite Your Business, Alex also does a lot of work around fear, hosts her own women's circle and holds space for women's work, and is putting some important work out into the world as well, not just in the entrepreneurial space, but in supporting women overcoming fear, having gone through her own journey, having gone through a difficult divorce. And so, yeah, just honoring the path that you're doing, serving your soul work as well. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, you
Yes.
guys, thanks for listening. We will see you in the next episode. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Ciao, ciao.
Cheers.